Hey, Dolphins Commanders, it's right around the corner. It's not too late to get your score prediction in. I gave you mine earlier in the week. I think the Dolphins win this one 27-13, but you tell me. Let's get it in the comments going right away. And we've got a busy show to get to today on Dolphins Today, so buckle up. Let's do it now. All right, welcome in and go ahead and get comfortable, kick the feet up, that sort of thing, because we've got a lot to talk about. There are some very interesting rumors that have hit the NFL airwaves as of today, and we will discuss the latest around Zach Ertz, former standout tight end for the Eagles, then with the Cardinals. He has been waived. What does that mean for the rest of the National Football League? We will discuss. And speaking of rumors, well, Frank Smith, yes, he's done a great job as the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins, and sometimes that means you might find your name on a list of potential head coaching candidates. We will discuss that as well. But we begin with J.J. Watt. How about this? J.J. Watt being the one to break the news, and of course the former Cardinal. He played for a couple of different teams in his time, but J.J. Watt tweeting out the news, saying trying new things in retirement, so let's steal Adam Schefter's job for a day. Tight end Zach Ertz has requested and been granted his release from the Arizona Cardinals. Three-time Pro Bowler plans to sign with a contender. I think that's an important notion of this tweet. A contender, and make a run at his second Super Bowl. And I love the little shot he throws in at the end. Add some humor. Funny guy, J.J. Watt. This is easy Adam. But what does it mean for the Miami Dolphins? Let's take a look at Zach Ertz. As he mentioned, a three-time Pro Bowler, and he's a veteran in this league. 11 years. He won that Super Bowl in 2018 with the Eagles. Traded to Arizona in October of 2021, and given the state of the Cardinals franchise, you obviously understand why he wanted to be waived and to land with a potential contender, especially when you consider he's probably on the back nine of his career. In fact, he was placed on IR in October of 2023 with a quad injury. So he is expected to return from that injury in the near future. But hey, if you're like me and you're thinking, Dolphins, they check that box of contender, they could use some help at tight end, you got to be thinking, is this a possibility for the Dolphins to go out and make a splash and sign another veteran? So be the GM with me for a second here. Do you want the Dolphins to sign Zach Ertz? Type Y for yes or N for no. Let me know in the comments. It'll be our pinned comment of the day. So if YouTube hits you with that ad break, don't worry about it. Just type Y for yes or N for no. Now, Zach Ertz, a lot of people asking, does he still have any gas left in the tank? Here are his numbers from 2023 before the injury, and in 7 games, that's a decent enough sample size. 27 receptions, had the 1 touchdown, 187 yards. So numbers that don't necessarily jump off the page at you. However, I think Zach Ertz still has some quality football left in the tank. And even though he's getting a little long in the tooth, he still has the ability to make impactful contributions from the tight end position. And you know, he has the proven track record throughout his career. You look at these career statistics in 151 games. Obviously, the prime of his career spent with the Eagles. 709 receptions. Impressive there. 46 touchdowns. 7,434 yards. I mean, that is a guy that has got it done on a consistent basis at the tight end position. So, where would he fit in that Dolphins tight end depth chart? Because, again, you think about the Dolphins as a high-powered, potent offense, they really haven't gotten a lot of production from the tight end position. Durham Smythe's been solid, but he's also been banged up injury-wise. Tyler Kraft at the tight end number 2 spot really hasn't done, no disrespect to him, but he just hasn't made any meaningful contributions. And Julian Hill, I give him credit for being a solid blocker and really specializing in the run game, but not much of a pass-catching threat from the tight end position. So, again, you can probably hear it in my voice. That tells me this would be huge if the Dolphins can make it happen. Some of the other teams that are rumored to be interested in Zach Ertz, of course, the Eagles make a lot of sense for a number of different reasons, but the Dolphins would be ahead of them in terms of the waiver claiming process. And if you look at that tight end production from Julian Hill and Durham Smythe, there just hasn't been a ton there. 25 targets to Durham Smythe, and he's still yet to catch a touchdown. Not that that's the only way to evaluate a tight end's production, but you really don't see a lot of receiving production there from either of these guys. And remember, Julian Hill, in 4 of his targets, he has the 2 receptions. He even fumbled against the Raiders a couple of weeks ago. And again, not that makes you a bad player, but my point being there's opportunities for more production from the tight end position. So, similar question that we just asked. Now I want you to get specific with me. Pick a tight end you want to see as tight end number 1 for the Miami Dolphins. Because again, think of the possibilities. You got Tua Tagovailoa. You've got Raheem Mostert, arguably been the best running back aside from Christian McCaffrey this year, and in fact has more touchdowns on the ground than Christian McCaffrey. So obviously the run game really solid, and I haven't even started talking about Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, who are just missing that tight end. So who do you want to be the missing piece at tight end? You want ZE for Zach Ertz, DS for Durham Smythe, or JH for Julian Hill? It's real simple. Let me know in the comments. Coming up, we've got more Dolphins rumors to get to, this time around the coaching staff with the Miami Dolphins. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to a brand new sponsor. That is Factor. Ladies and gentlemen, listen up, because I had my first Factor meal last night, and oh my goodness, the Chipotle pork chop was delicious. It was to die for. My girlfriend Sydney had the tomato basil chicken. We did a little swap there, and they were both delicious. I would say 1 and 1A. But here's what you need to know about Factor, because we all know the holiday season is upon us, and you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed, busy days. That's where Factor comes in, folks. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, and they can help you fuel up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Let me say that again. They're delivered straight to your door, so you'll save time, you'll eat well, you'll stay on track with your healthy lifestyle, all while tackling your holiday to-dos. So if you're like me, you might be too busy with those holiday plans, too busy to cook, but you want to make sure you're still eating well. So with Factor, you skip that extra trip to the grocery store, you skip the meal prepping, skip the chopping and prepping and cleaning up too, all while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy. And you know what? A little bonus, you might impress your significant other like I did last night. I was like, babe, don't worry. I got it covered. We're having Factor tonight, and they were delicious. So don't waste any time. Head to factormeals.com/FinsChat50 and use that code FinsChat50 to get 50% off. That's pretty impressive. That's code FinsChat50 at factormeals.com/FinsChat50 to get 50% off. So head to factormeals.com/FinsChat50 and use that code FinsChat50 to get 50% off. And don't worry, we'll put the link in the description of today's video as well. So it's super easy. And there you have it. factormeals.com/FinsChat50 for 50% off. Now, when a team has success like the Dolphins have, and specifically at the beginning of the season when the Dolphins offense was putting up jaw-dropping numbers, video game stats, your offensive coordinator is going to get some attention. It's a good thing, not a bad thing in this case, given the success and the prowess of that Dolphins offense. So with that said, Frank Smith was mentioned in a Sports Illustrated article about vacant opportunities with the Carolina Panthers for their head coaching job as a potential candidate. So I think it's important to note that this is just, a speculation, rumor type of article listing potential candidates that the Panthers could target. Frank Smith, well, let's take a look at his resume. Obviously, he's done great things for the Dolphins in the last 2 years since becoming the offensive coordinator under Mike McDaniel. But before that, he was kind of, I don't want to say all over the place, but really working his way up as a lot of coordinators do. Those coordinating jobs not just handed out. He was a run game coordinator and offensive line coach for the Chargers in 2021, specialized as the tight end coach for the Raiders from 2018 to 2020, And really, he's been around for a while before he was afforded that opportunity to become the Dolphins offensive coordinator, which is his first coordinating job. And obviously, he has a great relationship with Mike McDaniel, who thinks very, very high of him. This was from an article published in The Athletic about a month ago when McDaniel was talking about Frank Smith and what he brings to the table. And this, just check out how the head coach just raves about his offensive coordinator. He said he has a thorough understanding of the game and is a great teacher, which is really what coaching is all about. He also has a unique ability to anticipate problems before they arise, be that on the field or an administrative type things related to schedules, questions that we will come up with players or coaches, etc., etc. McDaniel went on to say he operates on a daily basis with a passion, positivity, and humility that is rare and sets him apart. It's hard for me to summarize the positive impact Frank has had on our team, our coaching staff, and especially in supporting me as a head coach. So obviously, that's high praise from the boss. And one thing that stood out to me is his ability to anticipate problems before they arise. That's a great characteristic of a head coach. So I don't want Frank Smith to go. I really don't. However, when you think about his resume, of course, he's going to be linked to some of these head coaching vacancies, starting with the Carolina Panthers. So let's get our prediction hat on for a second. Where will Frank Smith be in 2024? Type MIA if you believe he'll stay in Miami, or, hey, it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. I don't want to see him go, but obviously, as he works his way up, maybe becoming a head coach could be a possibility for Frank Smith. So if you think he's going to Carolina, type CAR in the comments. Now, all credit in the world to Frank Smith, especially when you consider where the Dolphins' offense is at. And now I know lately they've turned the ball over far too often, but that's not always on the offensive coordinator. But I still think he remains in Miami for the 2024 season. I don't think he's quite ready to make that jump to become a head coach. And there's a number of different reasons why, but I think it's part of that Eric Bieniemy thing that happened with him where Mike McDaniel still calls the plays offensively. So he takes a lot of credit for the Dolphins offense, and the Panthers have some other really good candidates to consider. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Look what he's been able to implement in the Motor City for the Detroit Lions. That offense has been fantastic, led by Jared Goff. You look at Bobby Slowik, what he's doing in Houston as the offensive coordinator, and a lot of that has to do with C.J. Stroud, but obviously eye-popping numbers there as well. And Frank Smith, of course, with the Dolphins. So those are some potential Panther head coach candidates, and I want you to put your prediction hat on once again. Who do you think the Panthers, just for fun, I know we don't want to see one of our own go and Frank Smith leave, but if you had to guess, who do you think will be the Panthers' next head coach? If you think it will be Ben Johnson, type BJ. Bobby Slowik, the Texans offensive coordinator, type BS. And, of course, for Frank Smith, type FS. Now, with that said, I want Frank Smith to stay for the Dolphins because I think we've got a great thing going in Miami. And that's why we bring you daily content surrounding the Miami Dolphins. And that is why you need to subscribe. Help our channel continue to grow. We've seen exponential growth throughout this football season, which has been a blast. I've enjoyed every second of bringing you Dolphins content, and there's absolutely no sign of slowing down. Daily Dolphins content, breaking news. We've got daily Dolphins content, Dolphins watch parties, and, of course, our live shows that we do mostly on Wednesdays. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. It takes 2 seconds, and we bring you Dolphins content each and every day. So that's going to do it for this edition of Dolphins Today. Shout out to my main man, Patrick Seepman, on the ones and twos for today's video. You'll see him later on this week as well. Seeps and Reeps got something special planned for you guys. So subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today.